In this exercise, we're going to demonstrate how to use the for loop to compute the factorial of a number. So let me start my program and then I'll demonstrate arithmetically what factorial is before we write the program. So we're going to call this chap8 ex1.py. 5 factorial is equal to 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And then 6 factorial would be equal to 6 times 5 factorial. So if you know anything about recursion, which we're going to talk about later in the course, you can see that it's very easy to provide a recursive definition for factorial. But we're not going to do that here. We're going to demonstrate how to do it iteratively using a for loop. So let's start the program. So the first thing we're going to do is prompt the user to enter a number. Then we get the number for the user, and here I've used another input function, just plain old input, which works just like raw input, and you can use it instead of raw input when you need to. It'll certainly work for this example. And then we have a variable fact, which we'll set to 1. Fact is going to store our successive products. And so we have to use 1 instead of 0, because if we use 0, each successive product would then be equal to 0, which is not what we want. Because we want to start out with 1, then 1 times 2, then 2 times 3, then 6 times 4, and 24 times 5 to get the answer 120, which I probably should put up here. So after we've established our fact variable, we're ready to write the loop. So we're going to use range, and we're going to say the range is going to be from 1 to num plus 1. We have to do that to get it through 5, to do 1 through 5, even if we enter 5 as the input. You'll see in a moment. And here I already see a typo. Let me fix that real quick. That should be I. Then the body of the loop simply says fact is equal to fact times I. Then last, we're going to display the result. So we'll say the number that we entered factorial is equal to, like so. So let's save the program. Go back to our command line prompt and type chap8 x1.py. We'll say 5, and 5 factorial is 120. Let's run it again. Let's do 10. And you see how quickly the numbers grow when you're computing factorial. And we could do several other numbers, but we'll stop there. The for loop provides us with an easy way to do what's called the factorial computation iteratively. And like I said, there's also a recursive solution to factorial, and we'll look at that when we study recursion later on in the course. But with that, we're finished with this first exercise, and we're ready to move to the second and last exercise in this chapter.